because it was painfully obvious to me what they were trying to do. They couldn't emotionally manipulate me into taking their side on this, and they definitely were not going to try and guilt trip me anymore. None of them mind games were going to work with me because so far I know what kind of people they are, and I know that they will stop at nothing to get what they want. So I wasn't falling for any of their little tricks. And when the emotional manipulation didn't work, my brother resorted to other means. By that, I mean that he tried to force me and threatened to put up dangerous posts to defend me and get me fired from my hotshot job if I didn't comply with them. It was a pretty pathetic attempt because I just told him that if he did any of that, then they could add another lawsuit to their already ongoing list of troubles, because I'd also be filing for a defamation lawsuit against them that shut him up. But my mom got all defensive and told me that I had no right to try and scare him like this, especially after everything that I had done to the family. I didn't like that because I hadn't done anything to the family. They had brought this all on themselves by lying to people and borrowing money from relatives to fund and enable that golden child. I had no part to play in any of this, and for her to make it sound like I was the one responsible for this was just wrong, because I didn't make them take money from their relatives, never return it, and then come up with stupid excuses to avoid paying them back for years. I didn't raise my little brother to be an entitled man-child with no passion or goals capable of doing literally nothing. That was all on them. So if they wanted to pat somebody on the back for that, they could do it to themselves and keep me out of it. I actually said all of this to my parents, and then I told them to get the hell out of my house because they were wasting my day off, and I had more productive and fun things to do. My brother registered at first and got all up in my face trying to intimidate me and said that I wasn't going to get away with this and he was going to make sure of that, which was totally hilarious to me because what was he even going to do for his video game controller at me or get his 20-year-old online weirdos to cyberbully me? That really ticked them off. And when I told him to brush his teeth more often, if he was going to get so close to people to intimidate them, he went completely red in the face and my mom had to drag him away. But it was pretty satisfying for me to watch him struggle to hold back because I knew that he was powerless here and so were my parents. And it felt like just a huge victory to me because after years of being targeted by them, I finally had them begging for help, but I was not going to help them. So they were going to feel exactly the way I had felt when I asked them to pay for me to go to college. And they laughed in my face. Update 3. Hey, so it's been a couple of weeks since my parents visited me, and from what I've been hearing, things haven't been going well for them. My relatives have been saying that they have been going around and telling literally everyone they meet about how they are struggling to keep up with the bills as well as paying the lawyer. And now they also have to worry about how they are going to pay these people back, especially as they are about to retire in a couple of years. And this is just coming at the wrong time. Of course, the easiest solution for them would be to just make their youngest son get a real job and do something with his life so he can contribute to the household expenses. But they are not going to do that because they want to spoil him rotten, and they are succeeding at that job because he most certainly is pretty rotten on the inside. They have also been telling people that I felt bad about what I did at the wedding and how I created so much trouble for them, especially after the wonderful childhood that they have given me. And out of guilt, I had apparently offered to pay for the lawyer for them. But my parents had rejected it because they had felt very insulted by me at the wedding, and they bragged about how I couldn't buy them out. A couple of my relatives talked to me about it and told me that while they were impressed by how mature and generous I was, they weren't sure if trying to help my parents out was the best thing to do because they weren't exactly trustworthy. I had to reassure them that my parents had been lying, and I had done no such thing as they were claiming. Anytime any of my relatives talked to me about this, I clarified to them that whatever my parents told them was a complete and total lie. Then I told them the real version of what happened, where my family approached me and started begging me to help them out by lying and taking back what I said so it could buy them some time. And then my brother tried to threaten me or whatever it is that he was trying to do. I'm still not sure, and that makes a lot more sense to them than whatever nonsense story my parents had fed them so they don't come out looking bad. It's amazing to me how they still care so much about how their relatives perceive them. They're in so much legal trouble, but they're still trying to portray me as the villain in their story, even when nobody's buying it. I guess their priorities are pretty clear. Literally, nothing is more important to them than making me look bad, lol. Update 4. Okay, so I recently learned that my parents lost all 3 cases against them, and they have to pay back the people they had borrowed money from within the next couple of months. Which sucks for them, I guess, but it's great for me. I was really happy when I heard that. Of course, my relatives were the ones who told me about this, and they found out because my parents started whining almost immediately about how I had absolutely ruined them, and now they would never have any money left after they retired. Even now, they are blaming me for this, instead of acknowledging and accepting that this is just a consequence of their own actions. I can't even begin to imagine the mental gymnastics that it would require to come to a conclusion like this after everything that has taken place. It's not surprising, though, because I always knew that their life practically revolved around me, even though my brother was the golden child. It was always me who they wanted to put down and portray as the villain in all their stories. So I guess they're making the most of this opportunity to be the talk of the town for all the wrong reasons. Unfortunately, they don't realize that this is not a good thing, and nobody has any sympathy for them whatsoever. They just want attention, and that's it. They don't care where it comes from and for what reasons they receive it. As long as people are talking to them and about them, they just want an opportunity to whine to people about how difficult their life is because of me, and that's more evident now than ever. Update 5. So I have great news and I can't wait to share it with you guys, and I hope that it brings as much joy to you as it did to me. Are you guys ready for it? My brother had to get a job. That's right. I actually feel like the king of the world right now, because this is a day that I have been waiting for most of my adult life. The day that I would see my brother pushed into actually working instead of just sitting at home and playing games. I had to work my way through college and make my own path for myself, while my brother never had to worry about any of it because he had my parents backing him up. But now it feels like the universe has brought justice to our family in the most beautiful and poetic way possible. When I was in college, I had to work as a cashier at the diner to be able to pay for stuff, and I recently learned that my brother has had to get a job as a cashier at the video game store, because revenge is a dish best served cold. I couldn't believe it when I heard it, so I had to drive all the way to where he works. I even sacrificed my lunch for it, but it was completely worth it. When I saw the look on his face as soon as I walked into the store, and I relished the opportunity to walk around and make him uncomfortable and angry. It was a petty thing to do, but boy, did I enjoy myself. Before I left, I even asked him if our parents cried on his day of work like they had on his first day of school, and he just flipped me off and told me to leave. But I just loved the sight of that. And I really don't think that this year could get any better.